Good, really good scrimmage on Saturday. Very encouraged by overall. There's some areas obviously we got to continue to work really hard at, but just thought the guys competed well. Thought that we had a very good, offense versus defense competition part that both sides were making plays. Thought we had too many holding calls on the O-line, so we got to work on that. Had a Big Ten officiating crew was here, which was great to talk to our team, and even had a couple pass interference on defense, which was good to get those called, but they were costly at key times. Both sides of the ball had some penalties that I thought took us out of position to make plays. But as an overall evaluation, just thought that the group competed well. Thought that got a lot accomplished. Some really good special teams work in with our punt protection, going live with that and working on that. I think Hayden's really punting the ball extremely well right now. I thought our kickoff work was really effective, and Nate Snyder has really been kicking the ball well, and a lot of good hang time on his kickoffs and distance, and Jared Smolar as well is working hard and had some good kicks as well. So pleased with those guys, their work, and just felt like that it was a good next step for us. A lot to evaluate, a lot to get better at, but really felt like that our guys really took that first scrimmage, and we call it preseason game number 1, and it was a good measuring stick to see where we're at and what we got to reevaluate and adjust for this next week to get ready for preseason game number 2, which is going to be on Saturday.
Are you where you thought you would be at that point? I know you'd mentioned some penalties that you didn't like to see, but
yeah, I mean those are kind of typical. Beginning, you don't have the officials in practice every single day, and if you ask the D-line, the O-line holds every play, so if you ask the receivers, the DBs interfere with them every play. So it's good for me to get those officials here so I can just say, hey, that's up to them now. They either called it or they didn't, but yes, you get that. That's typical of the first scrimmage, I think. And so, but yeah, I would say in some ways, in terms of just the knowledge of a new offensive system and the way they execute it, maybe a little bit ahead of what I thought we might be. I think Coach DeBoer's he and I have talked. We would both agree with that. And then defensively, just the lack of mental mistakes has been encouraging. Guys in the right fits, guys in making the right checks and adjustments. So just a lot of guys that are involved that are doing a lot of good things. So probably maybe a little ahead in both of those areas in terms of execution on each side of the ball. Now we just got to get to where we're doing it at a high level all the time.
It's just to get it out of the way. Where are things at quarterback? Mm-hmm. Has anything changed? Is there anything maybe narrowed down in your mind, or is it still?
I tell you, it's almost harder than ever because I think all three of them played pretty well, and so it's still open. I mean, they just got to keep doing what they're doing and got to find a way to separate themselves a little bit. But no, I don't know that Saturday made it any easier or clarified things at all. But you see what they can do, and they all do good things, and I think which is good. I mean, I want to have a lot of good options and want to have guys that can make plays, and so I thought our receivers they're really playing well right now in regards to catching the football and getting lined up right and running routes. And so it's just a group that kind of sticks out to me. And obviously the quarterback play is part of that, and all three quarterbacks are able to do some good things. So I think that helps. And but just really think that group of guys, quarterbacks, receivers, all the work over the summer, I think is really paying off.
10-11 practices in, Coach, from a health standpoint, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, that part's been encouraging. We've had a couple guys, and Reese Taylor's got a hand injury, but he should be okay in time. And Gary Cooper had some lower leg injury that he had worked on a little bit, so he'll be out a few weeks. But other than that, guys are pretty healthy, and you got your typical hamstrings and things like that, but nothing so far that has kept guys out of much practice. So, and we're trying to manage that and do a really good job. Even like today's was by design to be able to give our guys a rest and recovery day, as well as a really, really effective situational practice to work on some specific things, corrections from the scrimmage, as well as getting some things squared away. But I was glad that it didn't hit today. I think we've had a lot of good physical practices so far, and trying to do a great job. I want us to be a really, really good team that practices really well on our feet, in shells, that has great tempo, great intensity, great thuds. Learn how to tackle that way, learn how to block that way, and keep everybody on their feet. I think it's positive for everybody. But just learn to practice that way without taking guys down all the time. We'll still have some live goes here the rest of the way, but those will be pretty controlled.
Didn't see Donovan out there. Is just a rest day, or
Yeah,
is he
today's
on the
rest day.
Okay.
Yeah, by design. So he's had a really good fall camp.
Whether it be quarterback or anywhere else, as you get deeper into camp, are there some positions that you start to think, hey, I want to start to kind of make some decisions here, or are you still in the mind of
Yeah,
the
we
mind to
are.
just leave a lot of stuff open?
No, I think that as a staff, we had conversations yesterday after the scrimmage just about, getting more specific into the ones and the twos, So I think you'll see more of that in practice, less emphasis on the threes because of just reps, needing to get more reps for those guys. And then so the twos will be a combination of certain threes and then the guys that we're trying to get ready for game day, So still not in, game prep mode yet, but this next week leading up to preseason game number 2 is going to be a big emphasis on getting the guys ready that we think are going to be playing for us on Saturdays. So yeah, you'll see a little bit of shift in that for sure.
The physicality in the scrimmage, was it what you wanted?
It was
or
good, and we're we've tackled well throughout fall camp, which needs to continue. We're gonna keep working on that, but I think that it's just that balance between the two of how many live goes do you go, how much is enough, how much is not enough, how much is too much. So really in that mode right now, and we got certain guys on offense that I know what they can do. So getting them tackled or receivers going to the ground doesn't make a lot of sense probably for certain ones. So but I think you got to start managing that for sure. But at the same time, there's guys that we still got a lot of youth, and those running backs got to take those hits so they can get ready to secure the ball and be able to be effective on game day. So yeah, that's just you kind of find yourself in that situation every year at this time of the year. But so far we just got to keep making good decisions with that.
With the quarterback race being as tight as it is, and obviously probably going down to the last week before the game, you get confident that guy's going to have enough reps, whoever that guy ends up being?
Yeah, and I think so, and that's where we have to do a really good job with those. And that's why, the sooner the better, make a decision for that for sure. But we're just not ready to make that call yet. But I do think that that's part of the thought process as well. And that's why we did practice longer and may do that for a little bit, but not much longer. We got to get the guys honed in on who's going to be the one out there on Saturdays.
So you got took a lot of freshmen that knock on the door to be in the rotation or play. But one guy at a tough position, Matthew Bedford. Ideally, I'm guessing you guys would probably like to redshirt him. But how tempting is it to I know Coy Cronk's in front of him, but he looks like he's a guy that could play right away. Well,
there's no question. I mean, if you could redshirt them all, that's ideal. That you get a chance to develop them. It's just not going to be reality. So I just he's really progressed. There's no question. Being here in the spring was huge for him, and I think that he's behind Coy right now on the depth chart. But you talk about having who's your next best offensive lineman that you have to insert somewhere, and so. Right now he's that guy, and so, but he's still, even today, his head was spinning on some things, so when you start being in there all the time, that which we try to give him some more reps on Saturday, but he's, I don't think we'll be redshirting Matthew Bedford. I think he's going to have to play.
You've talked a lot about Caleb Jones, I guess, conceptually or through the spring, through the off season, but now that you are here in fall camp and you're getting close to the business end, are you seeing kind of the mindset you want to see from him in terms of really holding that right tackle spot?
Yeah, you go through and you, like you said, you sit a young man down at the beginning of spring and you see what you think he can become, and you know what you recruited him to come here to do, and you set that out and you challenge the guys around him like we have with Coy and that whole group, and he's responded, and I was positive about him after spring and into the summer, and he continued to do what he had done before, and even probably take it to another level for our summer work goes, and he's continued. So he's playing his best football right now since he's been here, and I think everybody on our staff would agree with that. And so we just got to keep climbing with him, So very proud of him. He can't let up. He's where he's at for a reason, and he's really accepted the challenge of being a Big Ten starter. Now he's got to do that every single day, because you can't just. We're all of us have to keep getting better, and that's where the depth behind him and a guy like Matthew Bedford to say, hey, this guy's ready, waiting to chomping at the bit to play too, So, but at the same time, Aiden Rafferty's really come along and made a lot of progress as well. So I just feel like that, we needed Caleb to step up, and he has. And so I'm happy for him and happy for us. He's got to continue.
Coach Nelson, when you give DC duties, one thing you said you want to do is be more involved with special teams. How's that gone for you? How do you feel like that unit's come along so far in the first 10, 11 days?
Yeah, well, a big part of special teams is recruiting depth and speed and athleticism, and it's that, to me, is where we have been hurt in the past, where we got exposed a little bit as injuries would mount, and guys would have to be in those situations and all that open space that happens on special teams, and we got, it hurt us, so having a lot of these young defensive players, and it's an easy place for them to get reps. They don't take as much time to learn as the defense might learn, or even the skill guys on offense. So I expect that to be better. Our recovery units, which is a big indication of that, and then the specialists themselves. The kickers and the punters, and Hayden is having a great camp. Really encouraged by his progress in his pocket punts. He's always been good on the move, and really good job in we call them goal punts when we're trying to pin people inside the 10. He's done a great job of that, and obviously Logan is doing. I tell you, Charles is right there, and we told him it's the best kicker kicks. I know Logan was the kicker last year, and I'm not trying to create any pressure on anybody, but Charles Campbell's kicked extremely well in fall camp. So those guys are competing, and obviously Charles already redshirted, so he'll get a chance. We got to get him some live game kicks, as the season unfolds. And so, but I'm encouraged by that, and I think, like you said, I already talked about Nate and Jared Schmoller for the kickoff. They're battling, they're competing for that job. So I like the competition that we have going on there, and I like how Hayden's turned into a leader. We if you ask our strength staff, they're like he leads at the level of a captain, in regards to effort and toughness and work ethic in the weight room, and just the mindset that he has, which usually have specialists in those roles, but he's put himself in that position, at least be considered, So, but that's and he leads that whole group, and so. That's exciting. He was on our leadership council, and he's really taking charge of that. So you want to see it in all three phases, because we got to keep getting better on special teams, and I believe that we have a chance to be better.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Thank you, guys. Elio, have a great day.